Hi, I'm Don, and this is The Hobbyist Geek. Welcome back, y'all. Today's an exciting day. Today, we've got pack 11 of the Agora models, Optimus Prime, and this is huge. But, as you can see right here, I don't know, maybe you can't, but as you can see right here, the package is a little damaged. I hope everything is intact inside, but I can't wait. I have no idea what to expect here. So why don't we open this up and see what came inside. Okay, holy crap, I actually can't get my camera high enough to actually get the whole box in here. It's that big. Let's see what we can do about getting this thing open. And go from there. All right. Well, I think it's pretty clear we're finally putting the tires on the legs, so that's awesome. And this, with the little buttons and everything, I think this is a remote control. So we're going to be building the remote for this gorgeous piece here. And I mean, just look at all of those beautiful pieces. This is awesome. All right, and the next tray, we've got, I'm guessing these are parts of the waist. We got the grill. Man, there's just a lot in here. Oh, this is a heavier one. A little bit. We got some metal in here. I think most of this is going to be plastic, though. Look at all of this. Look at all these little fans and everything here. I wonder where those are going to go. This looks great. I can't wait to see where this goes. All right, and the last set of pieces right here. Oh man, we're going to start building the weapons. Look at that. This is obviously his cannon. So that's great. I did not see any pieces for his Energon axe, which is supposed to be a part of this. This looks like it's pieces for the Matrix. The Matrix of Leadership is supposed to go in his chest. So it looks like we're going to start building that as well. And we've got another LED here. I'm guessing that's for the chest for the Matrix. All right. I don't know how much is going to be left. I mean, it's supposed to be a whole pack of pieces coming after this, but this looks like most everything we're going to need to finish this thing off. I can't wait to find out, though. So why don't we get some pieces out here and start on this build. Okay, so we're going to kick things off here. Actually, before we get started, move this out of the way. This tray here, the instructions do confirm that these parts are for the cannon and for the Matrix of Leadership, and that the vast majority of these parts are not actually going to be used this time around. They're going to give us the instructions for assembly in pack 12, but it says most, not all. So I'm going to leave this out here on the table just in case we need some of it, but I wouldn't expect too much to come out of that, and unfortunately we will not be getting a Matrix or a cannon this go round. But to kick things off, we're going to be putting the fuel tanks together, and they're going to go right on top of here. And we're going to start off with part 11-1. That's this part right here. See, there's two holes, matches right there. So you can just set it right on top, and it actually does kind of lock in a little bit, thankfully. And we're going to be using two PB 2.6 by 8 screws to hold it in place. Okay, and with that in place, we're going to move on to part 11-2. And it'll be this, again, two holes, and that'll go on these posts here. So it should line up just like this. And we'll use another set of PB 2.6 by 8 screws to hold it in place. All right, and there we go. And now we're just going to repeat all of that for the other side. Same part numbers as well. So let me go ahead and get these in place and then we can move on. And there it is, looking nice. Okay, for this next bit, we're gonna have to do a little super gluing. We have part 3, that would be these blue ones here, and part 4. We got 2 part 3s, 8 part 4s. Okay, notice there's the post here coming up. This is facing upwards. You can also see a little arrow here to show you which direction is up. On these, it's harder to see, but there is a little arrow right there. And you can see this flat is shorter than this. The long one goes on the bottom, so it goes like this. And effectively what you're gonna do is glue all of these pieces all around it, just like this, and you get to do it twice. So rather than let you guys watch glue dry, I'm just gonna go do this off camera, and we'll come back once the glue has dried and these are ready to assemble. Okay, now that we've got all of these pieces glued and assembled, look in here, you can see there are 2 holes. And right here, there are 2 posts. Just line up the holes with the posts and slide it on in nice and tight. There you go. And then 2 more of the PB 2.6 by 8 screws to hold it in place. And we'll do the same on the other side. And there you go. All done, ready for the next step. Next step is fairly easy. We take these pins here, and there are 8 of them. This is part 76. You can see these holes. There are 4 of them on circling this on both sides. And we're just going to apply these pins into these holes just like this, no glue, to all 4 holes on each fuel tank. Just like that. All right, to finish these off, nice and easy. First, we're gonna take part 5 here, and you can see there are some grooves. Those will line up with those posts, of course. So we'll just plop that on just like that. And then we're gonna take part 6. That's this one here. You can see there are 4 holes. Those posts are gonna go in those holes. It probably doesn't matter, but it does show these 2 holes here on either side at an angle with the near hole facing the front of Optimus, just like this. Okay, and with all of that in place, right down the center, we've got another PB 2.6 by 8 screw to hold it in place. All right, and with it in there nice and secure, you've got part 7 here. Hey, what do you know? 2 posts. And these posts, you do actually want to glue this. It says to glue around this base, this circle here on the base. Does not want you to put too much glue on these posts, I think for obvious reasons. But right around the base here, and then you push these posts into those holes, and that'll seal this up, and you have a fuel tank complete. And then we're going to repeat the process for the other side. And there you go. Got a little freehand here, and that is one fully assembled and looking pretty nice fuel can or fuel tank. And we have one on either side of the model, looking absolutely spectacular. And now we can move on to the next bit. Okay, for this next bit, we got to do a little bit of prep work. First up, we're going to take part 16. You can tell it's 16 because it has the number 1 engraved right here. And we're going to take part 18. You can tell it's 18 because it only has 1 slot right there. And we've got to glue them together. Now that slot right there will fit on that slot right there, so boom. Or I should say this tab. So it'll fit just like that. And just throw some glue in there, and we got to do it twice. So let's go ahead and get that done. Okay, and with both of those done, and it's important to note, these are actually for the left leg. Over here for the right leg. So we'll effectively be duplicating. These are the tires, and we have part 20 for the rim here for the hubcap, as well as 22. And on 22, one side has the Autobot name that goes towards the front. This is the front. So just push them together. Wow, that is much harder to push together than it looks. But that's one done. Now we got to repeat it 3 more times. And there we go. 4 tires ready to rock. Obviously 2 of these will go on the right side as well. We have some additional parts here, which we'll get into when we go for the assembly. But over here, we have the stuff for the right leg that we can prep now. And that would be TR17. It's these. You can tell it's got a number 2 posted on there, and it's got 2 tabs on the back. And TR19, which you can tell has the 2 slots. 2 slots go in the 2 tabs, just like this. And just like with the other ones, we have to glue them on. So let's go ahead and get that prep work done as well. All right. And with these assembled, we are ready to start putting this on the model. Okay, working on the left leg here, we're going to take part 14. That's this puppy here. We're just going to slide it right in just like that. Then we're going to take the brake assembly that we made with the numbers 1 on it. And those are going to just slide in like so. There is a gear looking thing on one that's facing out. So the number 1 will be facing out. And just kind of throw that thing in just like so. Now we're going to take part 92, which I'm struggling to grasp here. Yeah. That is this black rubber washer here. I'm going to put that over both of these posts, just like this. And one more down here. Just like that. Okay. Now we can take the tires. Those are going to go on as well. Now these will not stay on their own, so we're going to have to screw them in. To screw them in, we're going to need the flat washers here. That's part 88, as well as a PWB 2.6x8 screw, just like so. And we'll get the tire on there and then just put the screw through the middle. All right. With that in place, we can do the bottom one. Same deal. I'm not particularly enthused about this. I mean, the whole brake assembly is invisible, to be honest. I think this could be a little tighter. Well, actually, no. That's about as tight as it's going to go. But it does rotate just fine. And just a little bit of wiggle. I do not like it, but this thing will not tighten anymore. So let's move on to the other one. All right, and now we've got both of them on there, and that is really as tight as they are going to go in both cases. So we can do the last step, which is taking part 21, this little cap here. We basically have to glue it right in there. So once you do this, obviously there is no getting that screw out, no adjusting. So I'm going to take a quick second here and just see if I can't get this a little bit tighter, and then I'll glue them in. Okay, despite all of my best efforts, that is as tight as they're gonna get. End of story. So we're gonna glue these caps on and call it a day. All right, and there you have it. Though to be honest, this is just, these caps don't want to stay. See? Even with all the glue on there, there's just not enough contact. Alrighty then. I didn't want to do this, but looks like I have no choice. We're going to put a little glue along the rim, the outside here, and hope that's sufficient. Alright, along the outside, which is not what they direct you to do, actually does seem to hold these caps in place a lot better, and it does still allow for the tires to turn. So we're good there. And now we get to repeat all of this for the right leg. Alrighty, we've got a little free hand here, and you can see we have both of the right leg tires done as well. I am a little disappointed because, you know, the whole brake assembly is pretty much invisible here. With a flashlight, which I've got on the camera here, you can see, you know, the red brakes. You can see a little bit of the disc through the holes, but not much, honestly. There's just not much to see. Coming around on the back side, you can see it a little better there, so that's good. I mean, it's not completely invisible, but you know, it is there, and you know, we do have it on both sides. The tires do turn, which is awesome. And now we have well, I think that's the end of the legs. I don't know, but I think we're ready for the next step. So let's see what's coming. Okay, for this next part, we're going to start building the spine. And this next bit's going to be quite fun. First up, we get part 25 here. And we're going to take part 27. Basically going to put this together just like this, best we can. We're going to take part 26 right here. You can see there's a wider opening and a narrow one. The wider one goes in, and we're just going to line it up like this. So looks a little something like this. Obviously it's going to be a little difficult to hold it together until we take part 77, which is this pin, and we're just going to slide it through. Now the instructions actually say you may need a small hammer for this. I don't have a small hammer. I've got a big hammer. So I'm hoping I don't need a hammer, but I do have my big hammer on standby just in case. Let's see if I can't get this pin through. All right, well, that's pretty close. I'm obviously gonna have to get the, whoa, man, that thing is not focusing well. There we go. All right, that's pretty close, but I'm gonna have to get this little pin a little further in, obviously. That is a pain. That is a major pain. I find that if you have a nice raised, solid air thing like this, and you push down, it actually works better than trying to hammer it in. But there is just that little bit left that I gotta get. And what's better is I gotta do it 5 more times. Well, hopefully we'll have a spine relatively soon. So let me go ahead and get all 6 of these completed, and I will be right back. Okay, y'all. So we've got all 6 of these done, and you know, lots of flexibility and whatnot, but my God, getting those pins in is a nightmare. And the best part is, we've got so many more to go. I mean, it's actually a little terrifying just how many of these we have to do, because now we've got to attach them. So basically you take 2 of them, make sure this little tab is on the top, just like this. You push a pin right through, okay? And then you do it again and again and again and again, all the way until you have all of these attached in a chain. Now, one thing I have discovered, if you take a very small screwdriver, and just to give you a little comparison here, okay, you can see the tip of this is not much thicker than these pins, and you just stick it in and twist it around a little bit to clear out some of this, widen the hole a little bit. You don't have to go all the way through. In fact, you should not go all the way through, because the primary thing holding the pin in is the friction on this center piece. But it doesn't need to be frictioned for the whole thing. So just widen the hole a little bit on both sides. Trust me, it's going to make your life much, much easier getting these pins in. Nothing's gonna make it perfect. I mean, sure, you could drill right through that hole and make it wider all the way through, but then you're not gonna get any friction, the pin will just fall out. You don't want that. But that is going to be much easier to get in than just leaving it factory. So basically we're going to go like this, get that pin in there. We push this puppy through. I'll show you what the final product is, and then I'll get the rest of them done. See what I mean? So much easier. And in the end, it'll look like this. And then we add the next one to the chain, and so on and so forth until it's all together. And I will go ahead and do that, and I will be right back. And there we are, all together and looking wonderful. Look at that. That looks great. I hope all of this is visible once the final model is complete, but we will see. But we can move on to the next bit, because we're not quite done with this yet. All right, let's see if we can't finish this thing off and get rid of all these pins. First things first, we're gonna take another part 25 here, and we're gonna combine it with part 23. You can see it's got these 2 posts here. Those 2 posts need to be facing the rear. Whoop. facing the rear. So it'll go on there like this. Now the pin that goes through here is actually a little different. It's part 78, which is pretty much the same thing, just a little shorter. So make sure you don't get those confused. All right, there you go. And with this together, we can now close off this end by attaching it the same way we did all the others with a part 77 pin. There we go. All right, back end is completed. Now we're gonna move to the front end where we are going to take, what is this? This is part 28, is this part here, and another part 26. We're going to put those together in this orientation. Use a 77 pin to get that through just like this. And we're going to attach this the same way, but on the front. So that'll go just like this. And one more 77 pin, and hopefully this will be done. There we go. Both front and back ends completed, along with the rest of the chain. Thank God. I gotta tell you, man, my fingers are killing me. But we can finally move on. All right, this next bit's gonna be fun. First off, you gotta get part 24 here, and there are 8 of them. And you're gonna need 16 PB 2.3x6 screws. And of course, the spine that you've built so far. Now, starting at the bottom, that would be this end here. Okay. So you can see the orientation. These are the little tabs pointing that way. So this would be the bottom. And you basically line it up just like this. And you get it in with 2 of those screws. All right. So we've got one in place. And from there, we just do another one right on top. Make sure that this goes under this, like that. Ah. All right. So it should look something like this. 2 more screws, and then we're going to continue it all the way up and do all 8 of them. And there you go. Look at that. One spine, ready to rock and roll. Let's see what's next. All right, for this next bit, we're gonna take part 29 here. We're gonna throw it on here. Now it's important to note, these two are closer together and obviously close to the front. Those are gonna go towards the front of Optimus where these cables are. So when you slide it in, make sure that those cables come right through there, like that. And we have a hole on either side. We're going to be using one M3.8 bolt and one of these locking washers that are part 86. And we're just going to slide that in there. And we will screw it in place. And then there's another hole right on the other side where we're going to do exactly the same. All right, there you go, and we are ready for the next step. All right, now we're going to take part 32 here. We're going to meld it with parts 30 and 31. 30 has the number 1 engraved on it, and 31 actually has the number 2 engraved on it. And basically it's just going to sit in here just like that. So we've got these 4 posts, 2 per part, and there are some very deep holes there. Slides right in. We're going to be using PB 2.6 by 8 screws to hold it in place. All right, look at that. Now these 2 holes, those are special. I'm going to be taking the spine that we just built. Make sure you're looking at the bottom, and you've got those 2 posts right there. Those posts are going to go into those holes. And we're going to be using PB 2.3 by 6 screws to hold it in place. All right, look at that, nice and tight, and that beautiful spine sitting right there. That's awesome. Coming back up to the waist here, we're going to take the part we just assembled. You can see we got 4 holes. We got 4 posts around there. Make sure not to get the cabling mixed up in it. And we're going to be using 4 more of those M3x8 bolts with the locking washers to hold it in place. And there it is. Look at that. With our spine coming up the back just like that. This is looking great. Next. All right, next up, very easy. We're gonna take these TR75 pieces here. You can see we've got the bolts on one side and the flats on the other. And it's not very descriptive, but the bolts definitely go in on either side. So we can push it in like this, and it looks like the flat is going to be vertical. So it should look something like that when you are done. Okay, for this next bit, I'm going to take part 37 here. There is a little bit of a lip on this side, and this is completely flat. So in this orientation with the flat side coming in, we're going to take part 33 right here. We're going to put them together just like this. Now that's not enough, of course. We need part 34, and you can see it's got that one post. That post is going to go towards the top. So it should line up much like this. Try to get the holes aligned a little bit there. And we're going to be doing PB 2.6 by 8 screws to hold it in place. All right, when you're done, it should look a little something like this. And we actually do have a little bit of motion here. So that's great. It is a tight fit though. All right, coming back up to the top here. It's a little hard to see, but there are some grooves here and here. And if you take a look at the piece you just assembled, with these divots facing front and the metal on the bottom, it's basically just going to sit in those grooves. There's nothing to hold it just yet, but that is where it will go. All right, I'm going to back this up just a little bit here, but you can see there are 2 posts here and 2 posts here. Well, you got part 35 and part 36. You can see they've got a little groove there and 2 holes for the screws. The groove, of course, will go over top of the pin here, just like that. And we'll do it on either side. And in the big holes here, we're going to be using PB 2.6 by 8 screws, 2 of them on either side to hold it in place. All right, and there we go. Look at that. On to the next step. Okay, well, it doesn't look like we're quite done with this step yet. I'm gonna go free cam here so I can try to show you a little bit. Over here, you can see we've got 2 holes here and 2 more over here, and we're gonna be using the PM 3 by 8 screws to hold it in place. So we got 4 of them coming right up. All right, there we go. I gotta tell you, man, these things are not going anywhere. Let's see what's next. All right, for this next bit, we've got parts 38 and 39. And once again, 38 has a number 1 on it, and 39 has a 2. And it's really hard to see, but it is in there. All right. And if you're done dropping them like me, you can see there's a slot right there. That slot is going to go right on here, just like so. There we go. Nice and assembled. Same with the other side. Oops. Oh, let's see. There we go. All right, and with that in place, I'm going to take 2 more of those 75s. Again, make sure the flat is vertical, and they're just going to slot in just like they did on the bottom. Well, they're supposed to. This does not want to go in though. There it goes. All right. All right. Woo. And now we can move on to the next step. All right. Next up, I'm going to take part 42 here. And again, right in there, it's got a number 1 printed on it. You can see it's got the slot here. It's going to go right there. And that hole is actually going to fit right on there. Now, once we get this thing on, however, oh man, getting that thing in that slot is a pain. There we go. There. Woof. Okay, with this on, now this is the important part. These cables are going to have to come up through here. Okay, so we slot that in, that in. I feel like this is not going in all the way. There it goes. All right, and like I said, make sure these cables come up here because we have part 43, and we're going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. And when it's all assembled, you should have something that looks like this, with these cables coming out the back, just like that. All right, for this next bit, we're going to be taking part 79 here, which is just this little flat piece of metal. I'm just going to slot in right on top here. Let's see if I can, I'm going to have to go free cam again. You can see there are 4 holes. You can just match that puppy up just like that. And inside those 4 holes, We're going to be using M3x8 bolts again with locking washers. Part 86 is the locking washer. Alright, and with that stage done, it should look like that. Alright, next up, we're going to take part 51 here. And in this orientation, you can see there are 6 circular holes and 4 hexagonal holes. The circular holes are the ones that we're going to be focused on right now, and they're going to go line up with all of that. So just push this thing in, just like that. And now we're going to be using 6 M3x8 bolts, the last 6 of those. But this time we're going to be using part 87, which is the fancy washers for plastic, I guess. So let's go ahead and get those 6 bolts in. All right. So with that done, it should look like that. Okay, for this next bit, we're going to be prepping some more pieces here. We've got part 40, which does have the number 1 printed on it right there, and 44. Now 44 and 45 look very similar, but you can see this little divot here. That is how you can tell which is which. This is 44. And 44 will go in just like this. You can see 5 holes. We're going to be using PWM 2x6 screws to hold it in place. And then we're going to repeat that on this side. By the way, this is part 41, and this is part 45. All right, and with that prepped, it's time to bring out the big guy again. All right, here's where things are gonna get a little bit tricky. Basically, you're gonna wanna match the parts here. This has the number 1 right there, and this has the number 1 right there. So you know you're on the right side. You can see it angles down towards the front of the piece. This is going to slide into this slot right here. And here's where things get real fun. We're going to be using PWB 2.6x6 screws down there into that hole. Right in, wow man, I can't even really show this, but it's going to be right down in there to hold it in place. And we're going to do that on both sides. And there you have it. Man, it is tricky getting those screws in there. But we got it. There is a little more play than I would like here, but considering it's only held in with the 1 screw, not a lot that can be done. Okay, for this next bit, we got parts 52 and 53. I don't see any identifying marks beyond, oh no, well, there it is. There's number 1 there. And a number 2 there. And as always, number 1 goes on the left side, number 2 goes on the right, and they just kind of go in here, just like this. And there's a post here that should go into that hole. There it goes, just like that. And then there are 3 holes right here. It's these 3. And we're going to be using PM 3x8 screws to hold that in place. We're going to do it for both sides. Alrighty, and there you go. That is what it will look like from the top. Definitely looking at, by the way, these two pieces came out of that third pack with the matrix and the cannon. So we are using some of the parts from there, just not all of them. Let's see what's next. Alright, next up, we're going to be taking part 54. It'll be this big piece here. And it's just going to slide right on top, basically like this. And we'll get it centered as best we can. Make sure that this lip is actually going up and over like that. And there are 5 screw holes that we'll need to align. So, on each side, I should say, so a total of 10. So we've got these 3 and these 2 up here, and same on the other side. Total of 10. And once again, we're going to be using PM 3x8 screws to hold it in place. Okay, holy crap. But that is what it'll look like when you're done. For some reason, these two really did not want to go into their holes. I'm not sure exactly why, but we got them and we can move on. All right, for this next bit, we're gonna take part 46 here, and we got 4 part 47s, which are these fans. And they're all just going to go into those holes, but you're going to need to glue them a little bit. So we'll get a little glue on there. We'll get all 4 fans in. And there we go. On to the next bit. All right, this next bit's real simple. We're going to take part 48 right here. You can see it's got the little black bit here, a little wider on the top than on the bottom. And this extra design here towards the bottom. And we're going to take part 91. We're just going to slot that in there. Look at that. That looks gorgeous. All right, on the top, we're going to take part 49. You can tell it's only got the one post. Make sure that post in this orientation is on the left. And we're going to use 2 PB 2.3x6 screws to hold it in place. And for the bottom one, this is part 50. It does have some rounded edges here and then some corners. Make sure the rounded edges are facing the bottom, just like this. And again, PB 2.3x6 screws to hold it in place. All right, there we are, ready for the next step. All right, time to attach the grill. First up, we're going to take this bit. On the back, you can see there are 4 posts, and here there are 4 holes. And it does say to apply a bit of glue to these posts to make sure it stays in place. So that is what we're going to do. And there it is. Now for the next bit, we've got the 3 posts we just added. We plug them into these holes. Now this time it does not say anything about glue, so I will not use glue. And there you go. That is it. Yeah, that's pretty good. The top one is a little looser than I would have hoped, but it's in there pretty good. And we can always go back and glue it if we have to, but I would prefer not. Sadly, all those fans and everything that we just put together, you can't see them. They're completely invisible through that grill. So all of that detail is just wasted. Maybe that's why we're not supposed to glue it, so we can actually pull it out and see all of that. Oh man. All right, well, I'm gonna get this back in and we will head on to the next stage. Alrighty, this next bit's gonna be a little tricky here, but we will do our best. First things first, looking at the back, make sure these cables are out of the way. They can go to the side or the front, whatever, but just make sure they're out of the way. Then we're gonna take this, which is part 55. You can see we've got 2 holes here and 2 holes here, okay? In this orientation, these 2 posts right here on the spine are gonna go right in there, and then we're gonna attach it up top. But first things first, let's get this in. And we're gonna be using the PWB 2.3x6 screws, which are these wide screws here. I should say wide head screws. So let's go ahead and see if we can't get this spine attached. All right, and with that attached, I'm gonna put this thing up here. There we go. See, look at how nice that fits. I'm gonna throw this thing up here. There are 2 holes up top, and we're gonna be using PB 2.3x6. So these are the narrow head screws. All right, and there we go. Spine is attached, looking great. And I think we may be done with the body for now, but let me double check and we'll move on. All right, turns out that is correct. This is the end of the body. We still have a little more to do in this stage, but we'll get to that in just a second. I did want to showcase this though. As you can see, we do have some movement here, quite a bit of movement actually, on the waist there, and we've actually got some tilt to it as well. Not a lot, just a little bit, but we do have just a little bit of tilt on the waist. And then we can push it back in and we are good to go. How awesome is that? Okay, for this last bit, we're going to be assembling the remote control. This has got no particular use at the moment, but we can still get it assembled and ready to rock and roll. We'll start with part 9 here, which is the back of the remote, and part 13, which is the circuit board. For obvious reasons, be delicate when handling the circuit board. All right, now when you bring it out, you can see all of the buttons, and here's where the power goes in. That is the power adapter. So you can plug it in now, you can plug it in later, doesn't really matter. As long as it's plugged in before you move on to the next step. I'm gonna go ahead and plug it in now. All right, and with the power in, we're just gonna set this puppy down and it's gonna fit right there like that. There are 3 screw holes, 1, 2, 3. We're gonna be using PB 2.3x6 screws to hold it in place. All right, look at that. That looks awesome. Now we're gonna take part 8 here, which is the front, part 12, which is just the Autobot logo here, and we'll go right there, and part 11, which is like all of the buttons, which will just slide right in like so. So it looks like that. And we will line it up with the backing at that. 6 screw holes, and we're going to be using 6 more of the PB 2.3x6 screws to hold it in place. All right, and with that complete, always a good idea, test every button. Make sure that they all actually click. Mine do. We can put the back on if you want. You can go ahead and put some batteries in here. I will not be doing that just yet because there's no actual use for it just yet. But there we go, 1 remote control complete, and that finishes off pack 11. And there you go, y'all. Pack 11 is completed. Look at this amazing piece. We are so close. 1 pack left. 1 pack. And this guy will be done. I really like this waist. I'm less a fan of the spine. I don't really like the spine too much, but you know what? It's okay. I can deal with it. It's not that bad. And you know, it does look quite nice. We've got our remote control ready. And of course, from the previous packs, we have both arms, the chest, and the head ready to go as well. So next go round should be fun. I can't wait. How about you? Let me know in the comments. If you liked the video, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.